Welcome to today's lecture in the series on the League of Nations. Today we are going to examine the Abyssinian crisis of 1935 in order to answer the question of why did the Abyssinian crisis weaken the League of Nations. Firstly, we will examine the reasons why Italy decided to invade the African nation of Abyssinia. We will then examine the League's reaction to the crisis and the decision by France and Britain to form the Holarval Pact. Finally, we will examine the consequences for the League of Nations to understand how it was undermined by its most important council members. Let's first understand where Abyssinia is located. In the 1930s, Abyssinia was a landlocked nation on the Horn of Africa, bordering Sudan to the west and Eritrea and Italian Somaliland to the east. It comprises mostly of modern-day Ethiopia, and was a very mountainous, rural and underdeveloped nation. If we then examine this map, we can see that Abyssinia was the only nation on the Horn of Africa that had not been colonized by a European power. Britain especially dominated the area, having colonized Egypt, Kenya, Sudan and Uganda, so to create a trade corridor from the Suez Canal in the north right down to South Africa. However, Italy owned a large section of coastland in Somaliland to the south of Abyssinia, so her leader Mussolini saw Abyssinia as an easy conquest. There were two main reasons why Mussolini decided to invade another country in 1935. Firstly, the Great Depression had hit the country hard, and he hoped that conquest of land would bring with it resources and a boost to the economy. Secondly, as a right-wing nationalist dictator, he hoped the conquest of a foreign land would act as a distraction from problems at home and increase patriotism. He chose Abyssinia especially since it was the only nation that had not been colonized by a European power on the Horn of Africa, because the lowland areas, below the mountains, contained fertile farmland that could be used to grow grain to feed Italy's hungry nation. Mussolini began his invasion of Abyssinia by building a fort at the town of Walwal which bordered Italian Somaliland. He then stationed Somalian troops at the fort, and they soon came into conflict with the native Abyssinians, resulting in a skirmish between the two sides in December 1934. Mussolini used this as an excuse to take tanks, armored vehicles and planes loaded with machine guns over the border to Abyssinia, something that was seen as barbaric, as the native Abyssinians only had traditional weapons like spears to defend themselves. In the end, 107 Abyssinians were killed and 50 Italians and Somalians. In January 1935, the Emperor of Abyssinia, called Selassie, appealed to the League of Nations for support. At the same time, Mussolini demanded an apology from Selassie for Abyssinia's part in the conflict. The League reacted in an ineffective manner. Their judgment was inconclusive, and they did not morally condemn either side for the incident. In February 1935, Mussolini mobilized 2 army divisions and sent large numbers of troops to Italian Somaliland in anticipation of a full invasion. There was very little international response. Selassie then appealed to the League on 3 separate occasions between March and May 1935 for support against Italian aggression. Eventually, in late June, the League sent over Anthony Eden, who was then Under Foreign Secretary, to investigate. Eden responded by introducing a trade embargo, especially on the sale of weapons. However, the trade embargo was ineffective because France and Britain decided to keep the Suez Canal open. This is a man-made canal that links the Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea and is a crucial waterway for trade, as it means that ships do not need to journey all the way around the continent of Africa to deliver cargo from Asia or the Middle East. If we look at where the Suez Canal is situation in relation to Europe, the closure of this canal to Italian ships would have been a highly effective trade embargo. This is because it would have prevented Mussolini from shipping coal to the region, and therefore he would not have been able to fuel his invasion. Instead, the trade embargo that was imposed proved largely ineffective. However, while all this was going on through the official channels of the League of Nations, there was more sinister actions taking place behind the scenes. The foreign secretaries for both Britain and France, named Samuel Hoare and Pierre Laval, met with Mussolini in private as early as February 1935. They made a secret pact called the Hoare-Laval Pact, whereby they partitioned Abyssinia in two. Italy would take the fertile lowland areas, whilst the Abyssinians would be pushed into the barren mountains. This pact gave Mussolini the confidence to ignore whatever the League and its council members might say in public. As a consequence, Mussolini ignored the League of Nations and invaded the whole of Abyssinia. Furthermore, Italy now left the League of Nations, making them the second council member in under 5 years to choose aggression over diplomacy and peace. This was a serious blow to the League's reputation. It was painstakingly evident that they could not control the aggressive actions of their most powerful members. Furthermore, in December 1935, the Hoare-Laval Pact was leaked to the British press. This caused a moral outcry across the British public. The Labour Party, who were in opposition to the government, claimed that if the pact was true, then the Conservative government had broken a key 1935 election promise to support the League and its actions. This essentially marked the end of Britain's attempts at peacemaking and diplomacy. From this point onwards, Britain would follow a policy of appeasement, whereby they would look to please a powerful aggressor, most particularly Adolf Hitler, in the hope of avoiding another world conflict. The Abyssinian crisis was the final major incident that the League was involved in. The abject failure of the League to deal with the problem proved to the world that as an organization, it was not up to the task, nor was it truly supported by its most powerful members. Whilst the League continued to exist until the outbreak of World War II, it no longer functioned as a peacemaking body. However, in October 1945, after the war, the United Nations was born on similar principles. It learnt from the mistakes of the League, and this time America did become a member. Its success is clearly evident in how it is still used to resolve world conflict today. Let's now return to our overarching question of why did the Abyssinian crisis weaken the League of Nations? Firstly, the Abyssinian crisis was very similar to the Manchurian crisis insofar as it was a council member of the League that chose to invade another country. In this case, Italy chose to invade the African country of Abyssinia. Secondly, the League of Nations was seriously undermined by its two remaining council members, Britain and France, who formed a secret pact with Mussolini to allow him to take the most fertile region of Abyssinia. As a consequence, Mussolini decided to invade the whole of Abyssinia, and Italy left the League of Nations. By this point, it was clear to all that the League had failed to achieve its key aims of diplomacy, disarmament and achievement of world peace. This is the final lecture in this short series on the failure of the League of Nations. Tune into the next short series to learn about the road to war in the 1930s, which led to Hitler's invasion of Poland and the outbreak of World War II.